Hi, everybody. Welcome to Talkback with me, Judy Simpson Cook. I'm excited today to have a wonderful guest, and that is my friend and wonderful performer, Polly Adkins. Hi, Polly.
Hi, how are you, Judy?
I'm good. You doing okay?
Had a busy day. We did another Zoom earlier, but this one's going to be a lot more fun.
Zoom does have its own special brand of challenges, doesn't it? Well,
Really
let's just
good.
plunge in and talk about you. What is your background? Where did you grow up? Where did you come from, girl?
Well, actually, we were born, my sister and I, I'm a twin, we were born in Charlotte. We did not live there. We lived actually in Darlington, South Carolina, which I love that name, Darlington. We were 7 months when my mother was rushed to the hospital, and the only, I guess, hospital for anybody in that situation, which was very early back in the late 40s. I'm old. We were rushed to Charlotte. So we were born there way too premature. We struggled to live and got home after about 3 months and then went right back with pneumonia. So it was probably 4 months before we actually got home. And not long after that, 2 years later, we moved to Rock Hill. So I grew up in Rock Hill and went to school at what we call WTS, Winthrop Training School, which was that castle that's, if you know Rock Hill, right across from Winthrop College. It was part of university. My father was a professor there, and that's why we moved, and my mother was a teacher. So we were actually born in Charlotte.
And your sister, what is her name? Is it
Lolly? Yeah,
Lolly?
Laura, but we call her Lolly, which rhymes with mine, Polly.
Absolutely, that's the way to do the twin naming. I was trying
Well,
to call her something with a P, but well, did you and she grow up and become adults leading parallel lives, or have you gone
pretty
in
much.
opposite directions?
Pretty much, we stayed that way through high school, obviously, and went to Winthrop. My father died when I was 14, so we basically went to Winthrop as day students, and I had to keep my scholarship, so I worked really hard and worked in the secretary's office. My sister worked in another office. So it was pretty much the same until we graduated from college. And then I got married immediately. So she went to Charleston and lived with a bunch of ladies and had a wonderful time. And I delved into being a wife and teacher.
And you're married to?
Rusty Adkins, William. He goes by Rusty Adkins. He's a big Clemson baseball player, has all kinds of awards that are on our walls and pictures. He went into professional ball for a little while. He's short and very strong, but very short. So he saw the picture on the wall that he wasn't going to make it into the big leagues and went back to get his master's degree and, worked at Springs Mills.
Ah, my parents worked there too. The one in
Oh,
Lancaster.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I have a lot of Springs Mills experience background.
Oh yeah, well, Rusty worked there until they sent the whole shit kebab over to across the seas. So that was unfortunate. Yeah, when everybody lost their job that worked at Fort Mill.
Yeah,
But
well, this was in Lancaster, and it was about the same. Now, you taught French. Is French the only thing that you taught?
I taught French, and because our high school, York High School, did not have a drama department, I started doing little shows in my French classes, and then everybody heard about them, so we started putting them on in the school, and then it worked into a nighttime performance. We would do a big show every year, and finally the principal of the school said, look, we need you to be the drama teacher, and I can hire a French teacher. And I said, no, I'm a French teacher, and that's my first love. So he said, can you do them both? So for the last 15 years, I was both. I was the drama teacher for one period of the day and one afternoon time, and then taught French the rest of the time. And I am proud to say that when I retired, they had to hire 2 teachers.
Well, that's very impressive. So where did this, well, because you insisted you were a French teacher first and foremost, there's clearly a love of French. Where did that originate?
The French, I had the most wonderful French teacher in high school. And we did not have, in our high school back then, a drama teacher, but we did have Miss Mary Long. I don't know if you know who I'm referring to, but she, yes, her son, William Ivy Long, we called him Bill Long. He went to school with me from 1st or 2nd grade all the way up to 12th grade, so we were good friends and got to know each other. And she wanted us to have some drama. So she came over to our school after school when we were in high school, and we did some shows, and that's where I got the bug. We did a show, Curse You Jack Dalton, and I was the bad lady, and ended up having a South Carolina State Drama Award. So I went, okay, I can do this. And but you know, going back, what I said, and at Winthrop, I just didn't have time to do any drama or theater at all. So when I started teaching, I put it with my French classes, and we had some fun.
That sounds like fun. I took French in high school, and I remember certain words and phrases, but you are my go-to French expert when I actually need an accurate translation of something French.
Well, thank you.
Well, do you think, like your good friend of mine, Dennis Elmar, and Eleanor Wixon, and several other people I've talked to, you have this parallel life of theater and drama, theater and teaching. And I'm curious to know how, if in any way, the teaching informs your acting, directing life, or vice versa. Were you able to bring?
Well, it certainly did, because of the students that I had that didn't have drama in that high school. So I became a drama teacher, even though I didn't have any, any shows in college, really, because I was so busy, and only the ones that Mary Long did for us right after school in my junior and senior year. But I just knew that I would love to do it. And I went for about 9 years after I started teaching, not doing anything. And one day I picked up a newspaper and saw an audition for Rock Hill Community Playhouse to come. And so I went and tried out and got the part of a little nursey. The Sunshine Boys was the name of the show, and I did the nursey, you know. I enjoyed that. It was a very teeny role, but from then on I was hooked, and much to my husband's anger, no, I shouldn't say anger, but dismay, I started going to more of those and trying to get into more acting, which I did a lot in Fort Mill. Well, first in Rock Hill Little Theater. We actually, 3 of us actually made a theater in downtown Rock Hill, and then it got sold from us and on Main Street, and we kept going with that, and then finally we moved to Rusty's home place where his parents grew up, and so I started in with Fort Mill. So yes, everything sort of worked together once I decided that I was going to be an actor and a French teacher.
Well, I guess if you kind of discovered your love for acting after you'd already started teaching, did you ever have thoughts of trying to be a professional? I mean, you are a professional, but of trying to make a living as an actor?
No, you know, back back when I graduated from college, this sounds awful now, today's ladies, but there were basically three things you could be, you know, a secretary, a nurse. I mean, these kinds of things were just there, or a teacher. And I came from a teaching background, so I wanted to teach. I loved French, but I also decided that I could also teach drama. But it never, ever occurred to me to go, you know, up north or to LA and to do that kind of thing. It never occurred to me. And I always told my students, my drama students, that if you really are good and you really want to go somewhere, I would suggest that first you go to what you call big cities, because at York, South Carolina, Charlotte would have been a big city. Mm-hmm. You know, go to Detroit, go to Chicago. Don't just go fly into New York, because when you do, you are lost in a lot of good actors, the best in the state or the world or you know, the United States, and you're not going to have much of a chance. I only had one student who actually did that, went to New York and made it, but she did it in a way that was, she went to Oberlin College, and it was very close up there. And during her singing, yeah, I guess somebody came to see her, and she actually went into the Phantom just right out of college. That is so rare, and I tried to, you know, tell my students that. But I never had that itching to go anywhere. To me, Charlotte was a good place for me, because I didn't get to, in Fort Mill and in Rock Hill, they got tired of me on stage. And so when I got to Charlotte, there was enough theaters there that, you know, I could just make a lot of good friends, which I have over the years, wonderful friends. My sister is jealous of me that I have so many friends. And, you know, the only problem is they're in Charlotte and I have to get on the road, but that's okay. That's okay.
Oh, where does Lolly live?
She lives in Columbia. They lived in Charleston for many years, and she loved that. But he got moved, his job, and so they had to move to Columbia. They like Columbia, but I think maybe, you know, one of these days they'll probably move back to Charleston. Who knows? They love that city.
Well,
who doesn't?
Me too. Well, one other performance question, then I'm going to switch to something else, and that is, I know you also sing. When did that begin?
Well, we had such good college girls who would come across the street to teach us in everything at our school, from first grade all the way up through the 12th grade. We had just wonderful future music teachers. They taught us everything, and they taught us how to sing even when we were small. My sister and I used to sing together a lot, with people that we knew, and friends and relatives. And I don't know, we didn't realize how much we were learning until we saw that other people didn't have the musical ability, because they had never been taught and never had such good teachers, young teachers, who were very patient with us. So I don't really have a voice that would go to Broadway. I don't have a voice that you would think was wonderful, but I can certainly carry a tune and harmonize, because I've had such good teaching. So I think the shows that I've done that are musical are, for the most part, fun. They are not hard to sing. We're not, you know, talking really tough stuff. Although I will say, one of the worst things that I have ever gone to audition for and got was, I'm trying to think, not Salisbury, let me see. The Abbey. What is the Abbey?
Belmont Abbey? Yes,
Belmont Abbey. That's what I'm pulling for. My aphasia's kicking in here. Sorry, I'm old. But yeah, the Abbey did a wonderful show, and I went to audition for it, and you know, it was a little bit above my pay grade. It was a little bit more than I could do, and but I was so glad I did it, because in that particular show, I met so many people that I have learned to love. I met so many friends. You know, it was a wonderful production, and I'm so glad that I did it. Mrs. Lovett is the show, and I've been sitting here, Sweeney Todd, I've come up with it. Mrs. Lovett and Sweeney Todd. She's fun and funny, but oh my goodness, the lyrics are so difficult to learn. And I had a ball doing it. I don't know that I was probably the best Mrs. Lovett that ever was, but I'll tell you, Sondheim does some cruel things to people who are singing in his shows. It was very difficult, very hard. That was probably the one that I shouldn't have gone out for, and did get it, and afterwards was glad that I did. But yeah, I have a lot of music lessons and history, but nothing at all that should put me into some of Charlotte's best singers. No, not at all.
No.
I loved it, but shouldn't have been there in some cases.
I do think, and you're saying that sometimes the most challenging work turns out to be the most fun experience. And
it is,
because you're learning.
A lot of fun, and I don't regret it now, but I didn't know what the heck I was doing when I went and auditioned for that role.
You have a favorite role that you've played?
Oh gosh, that one was certainly one of them. I can't really say I've got a favorite. Mama Rose was a wonderful show, and that's another one that was difficult to sing, but easy, because there are such fun songs to sing, and that was done at Fort Mill. I'm trying to think. Mrs. Lovett was, of course, the one I mentioned. No, Violet, in both in Cast and in Salisbury, when I did August Osage County, that was another role that was so difficult, and I was so proud of it, because, my Lord, it won all these awards in New York. It's certainly a marvelous show, and I actually have done it twice. I did it in Charlotte at Cast, and the other one was in Salisbury, and I can't remember the exact name of the theater at this moment, but Salisbury asked me to do it, and again about 3 or 4 years later, and I swallowed hard and said, okay, I will do that one. That's a tough road.
We only have about 5 more minutes left, and I want to hear what you have to say about the whole COVID situation, how it has affected theater. What do you think we've gained, and do you think we've lost things, or will we recover and have our theater back with all its hugging and everything else?
Right. Well, I think we certainly have lost a lot. I know at Fort Mill, we have lost not just the money, but we may be losing, our members. Who knows? It's just something that everybody, the whole world, is going through. So it's not like we can say that we could move somewhere else. I think we're going to recover, but we're going to have that little shot that goes into everybody's arm that will protect us, I think, before we really, especially those of us in my age range, before we'll feel safe. Because even though things are doing better in South Carolina and North Carolina, I think, from the news, I still say we're in trouble if we get out there and don't wear our masks and don't behave. So yes, I think theater is going to respond with rejuvenation. And I also like the fact that theaters have managed to continue in their little way. You're doing it right here by what we're doing. And whether, 3 people see it or 300, it's still theater, and it's still fun to hear people's histories and their thoughts about it. I think I'm an optimist. I think we'll get over it. I hope so, at any rate. I like to, right now, I don't really act much anymore because I don't want to be any less than I once was. But I do love to direct and have directed in just about every theater, at least once in Charlotte, and certainly all around the area. So directing is my thing now.
Well, you're a very dear friend of the Storefront Theatre because
Yes.
You
Yes.
come to perform, you come to be the narrator, you come to be in the audience, and I'm grateful for that. What is it about Storefront that appeals to you?
I'm sorry?
What is it about Storefront that appeals to you?
Oh, I love the readings. People get lost. People think when they first come to these things, so you're just going to read a show. Yeah, but I don't want to come to that. And when I get them to come, they get lost in the story because number one, you get some good people to read, and it's not just a reading. It is actually an acting. The emotion is there. The surprise for some of these people who are new at it and they come back. And I've seen that by your audience. It gets bigger and bigger. And I sure hope that, you can continue that wherever you land. You've been in the church, but we've seen it in other places too. I just love this way of creating a story. You don't have to worry about costumes. You don't have to worry about a set, but everybody gets lost in the story. I think it's wonderful what you're doing.
Well, I enjoy it, and I feel a little skittish about what may happen in the future, but I also do like things like this and some other things that I've done as a Zoom or a live stream kind of event, and that's fun too. So maybe COVID will have expanded us rather than totally limited us forever. Well,
I hope you're right.
Go ahead. I'm sorry, what?
I said, I hope you're right, and I think we will. I think we'll get over it, and we will be the better for it.
Well, according to the old clock in the wall, as somebody used to say, I think we've run out of time. I wish we hadn't because I got lots more to talk about. But I will say goodbye and thank you very much. And perhaps we'll do a sequel.
Well, thank you. Thank you for asking me. This was fun, and I'm sorry if I blabbed too much. And excuse
the point was you blabbing. You're the guest. You're supposed to blab. The challenge for me is not blabbing.
Okay. All right. Thank you, husband. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.